What's up, y'all? Today we're going to be going over buckets. Super exciting, right? But stick with me. It gets a little more interesting, I promise. A lot of airtime for good old Home Depot today. Shout out them. So, anyways, let's get to it. I want you guys to imagine for this video you are a bucket, right? We're going to all view ourselves as a bucket. And what that theory is going to go from is how we handle stressors, physical, mentally, and emotionally, and how things you do in the gym or things outside of the gym can impact your performance or recovery in those other things. So at the end of this video, there will be a write-up with some actionable tips, but the real thing, if you stick through and watch it all, I'm going to be as short and concise and get my points across as quick as I can. But the one thing I hope you take from this is a more holistic and globalized approach to your health and fitness and lifestyle, we'll say, right? So we all are a bucket. Let's go with that concept to start. Super easy. We may not have a bucket this big to start. Some of us might start with a bucket like this. Some of us might start with a bucket like this. It doesn't mean that if you have a bucket like this, you can't get to a bucket like this, but you're going to have to work on your overall capacity, right? This is a super easy way at first to start thinking of being a beginner, intermediate, advanced lifter, and just your overall capacity when you do something. You'll get better at it over time. Let's keep it as simple as that. Makes sense, right? That same thing, let's say it may not be as black and white, but these same concepts apply to maybe when you have a new job that is very stressful to a few years down the road when you've got some systems in place and you figured out the ins and outs of work. So you're 10 years there and you're like, good luck, the company can't run without you, right? You get it. It's like not necessarily maybe did something actually change, but your ability and your capacity to deal with stress has changed, okay? So with that, we're going to start tying this all together. I can't remember off the top of my head who the book is by, but I'll also try to link that. But there's a great book called The Body Keeps Score that I read a long time ago that really like started this line of thinking for me. And it's something I apply to myself and clients that I've seen exponential return on results for, right? So we've got to talk about our central nervous system. We're not going to get super in depth with all this, kind of keep it high level, keep it to the point. But one thing we need to know about our central nervous system is it governs everything for our body, and that it directly deals with stressors or stimulus, right? We could, for now, let's say those terms are interchangeable. A stressor or a stimulus is something that fills up our bucket. So we'll give you some examples here, right? Let's say this is us. I've already got a couple things in this bucket. This is actually my little towel bucket I use for my garage gym. But let's say there's towels and things in there right now that are filling this bucket up at the base. That is just your everyday life to this point. That is maybe you're just going to work, living, talking to your friends, coworkers, family, all that. Like little things that a stimulus or a stressor doesn't have to necessarily be bad, but it's something that you have to put energy into or receive energy from in a sense of like, it is going to take a toll on you. Not a serious toll, but right, it's taking away from your capacity, right? It is taking something away from you. Now, let's start to add things. Things don't affect us all the same, right? And I'm not going to get into like percentages here. Like this is more of a high level concept to think about. Let's say we got something big like this towel. We started trying to run. Maybe you're training for a run. You don't run. That's a new stressor, new stimulus. That's going to fill up your bucket. And you still got your other life responsibilities in there too, right? So we've increased our bucket a little. Then let's say, oh, I'm running more. I want to start eating more, like eating healthier, excuse me. All right, cool. That's going to take a little more prep time. You are trading either time or money to be eating healthier. So, boom, cool. Filled our bucket up a little more, right? Still got a lot of room to go, but your capacity overall has been filled from what it was. Keep going with that. Maybe you have a little fight with your significant other, something you might not think about in regards to being even that big of a deal, but maybe you guys got over it. It was just that night, a little argument. Still, that for however long you want to last, the week, the month, that was some stress in your bucket. You may not be thinking about it anymore, but that doesn't mean your body didn't keep score. It affected your nervous system. It was a stimulus on you. And then let's say after all that, you're like, man, I want to get jacked. I want to do this. I'm going to start an all new workout program. I'm going 6 days a week. I'm running. I'm eating. I'm doing all my other shit. Cool. How much more fill our bucket is now, right? This is water. We're getting pretty. I don't want to do water. It would be cool for a video, but like I didn't want to clean all it up. And I think you guys get that. But your bucket's getting full from all these things, all these stimulus. Okay. So what we have to realize is mental and emotional things, whether it's things you're consciously thinking about or subconsciously thinking about, or maybe you're choosing to not think they're a problem or avoid, or maybe they're not even like a problem, right? Like anything in our bucket doesn't necessarily have to be bad. Like exercise is great for us, but it's still a stressor or a stimulus on the nervous system. Okay? Maybe you got a promotion at work. So that's like you're excited. You've upped your nervous system state, right? Like you're energetic, you're happy, you're buzzing, you're thinking about new things. That's something in your bucket. So don't get this confused that these always have to be bad things, right? We can think of anything as a stimulus to us. So that's basically the first part of this concept overall, right? Is we are a bucket. We are all different sized buckets too. So that's a lot of times why it is tough when you see people who are like, hey, I did this to do X, Y, Z. Getting away from the genetic side of it, which is obviously a huge component a lot of us know about. Think of this bucket concept. Think of your bucket. Like, if I have a bucket like this, and I'm like, yeah, dude, I'm training for an Ironman. I'm lifting 4 days a week. You know, right? I'm starting to like write a book. I'm starting to do more of my business I own. I'm getting married. That's me. That's a lot of things I'm doing right now. That's a lot in my bucket. It is a lot. Like I'm tired all the time. I'm teetering that line of a full bucket of just overdoing it. If I tell someone what I do, all those things, and this is their bucket, look, what did I just do? Hey, you should do everything I'm doing to a T because it works for me. They didn't even catch any of it, right? Sure, maybe something got stuffed in there, but I would be doing someone an injustice to, and you would be doing yourself an injustice to try to replicate what you see other people doing and think just because it works for them, it would work for you. So that's the second thing I want you to take away from this, right? First, we need to understand that everything has an opportunity cost and will fill our bucket, good or bad, and we need to be aware of that. And secondly, I can't just take random things I see and put them in my own bucket because I may not even have the capacity to benefit from something like that. It doesn't mean you can't build up to it and obviously learn and take things from people. There's a ton of great and intelligent people out there, but you're just taking snaps of people's lives with no concept or with no intent behind what they are doing, right? Like you don't know the why or how they got there. That's not how we need to approach things, okay? So let me clean up my mess while we keep going here, while we keep riding. And there's just one more part I want to get into this. Again, at the end of this video, check out the post on Substack. There will be some three actionable things we can do to increase our bucket or ways we can measure our bucket and the capacity of it, okay? But we're going to go over a couple more points to drive home. Obviously everyone's heard of, the cup half empty, cup half full. Another thing I want you to realize with your bucket, when you start taking stock of things, you may have a bigger bucket than you think. And you could be someone, this isn't everyone, right? Everyone's different. I'm going to go over two types of people, but there's many buckets. This one's mine, I love it. You may be the kind of person who your bucket's way bigger than you think. It's all pushed down, and you're like, oh, I'm doing so much, And you really have so much more room and potential to grow if you were hard enough on yourself, right? That definitely applies to some people. With that too, don't be the person with a hole in the top of their bucket, but you're filling it to down here. And I'll give you an example of that, right? That would be someone like, oh, I've got a kid, I work, I want to be a present father or mother, and I want to have obligations 40 hours, 50 hours a week. So, sure, you might have a bigger capacity that is being limited because you have a hole in your bucket up here where my finger is poking. But that doesn't mean your bucket can't stay full to here instead of just being down here or empty, right? We can't let things stop us from doing what we think is completely optimal. So maybe that for this example is like, I can't go to the gym 5 times a week for an hour. Because then you're right. They're looking at this hole, they're aware of that hole, and they know if they go that much, bad things are going to happen or it's just going to crash out, they're going to fail. Well, guess what? You can still tread this much water in your bucket safely without even splashing up there. So that's 30 minutes 2-3 times a week. You've got to learn to fill your bucket up no matter the condition it's in some way. Sometimes that means we're repairing the foundation. Sometimes that means, hey, there's a little crack in it for a few months, but guess what? I can still carry half a load. So think of it that way. The other concept we're going to go is the people who, we'll use the same size one, so I have to keep changing. People who fill up their bucket too much and they have cracks or holes down here, or it's just overflowing. Maybe they don't even have a crack or hole. So what do I mean by that? Let's say this is another term. I'm a big analogy guy. I've always used, you're building a house on 10 cans, right? If your foundation sucks, it doesn't matter what you build on top of it. It's eventually that foundation's not going to hold or it's not going to support. So that's the same concept here. Like, let's say maybe you're just eating is trash, or you're skipping for cardio or strength training. Like you're skipping one of the core foundational things you should be working on. Then it doesn't matter how much you fill this up. It's just constantly going to be losing because you're not going to be able to hold any capacity, right? You're just not. So if you're that kind of person, you either need to accept that you should get a smaller bucket overall and start new, right? Like maybe I'm not the old me. That's a tough one for people to deal with, especially as they get, I'd say later 20s, 30s, maybe they're feeling the effects of college or still like most people haven't done sports or worked out since high school. So you got to accept you might not have the bucket you used to, and you just need what used to work for what even you used to work for you might not work for you anymore. You might have to restart or go about it a different way. You have a different bucket. That is totally cool. But that's it. And then if you guys want to stay, I have one extra thing I'm gonna go over. This is a cool little analogy. Just wanted to use my Gatorade bottle. I love it. But what if this is our bucket? What we're going to talk about here is specialization. The threat of too much specialization. This I like to pick on my runners that I work with a lot because lifters are really bad about it too. It's the polar ends, right? So let's say like you're a power lifter and a runner. I've done it both, so I feel like I can talk a little crap to each because I've been in each community. This is all meant to be fun though. So what is the threat of over specialization, right? Let's say this was my bucket. This is my specialization. I've put this unique feature on it that helps me drink from this quickly, right? Like this is meant to do that. This is a specialization. I can't do what I just did with this bucket. I guess maybe a shot, shout out, dingus. Or this bucket, right? I can't as efficiently do what my specialization requires. So this would be I'm a runner. I'm specifically, these are the people who put themselves in one category. What you do when you do this too much or too often, or you lean into what you just want to lean into because you're good at it, is you make a ton of flaws and you limit your bucket. If your bucket has a lid on it, we can't grow it. This has one function. You're not going to be able to change your specialization or you should, but most people aren't going to change their specialization enough to allow global growth and increase their bucket. So you have to think about this is like a game of decades we're talking about, at least for me. So like maybe if you're talking short term, sure, sell your soul. You're training for the big race, Olympics, some money on the line. Their specialization has its place. But you're the power lifter who's like, oh, I can't walk 10,000 steps a day because like I gotta lift weights. You are hurting yourself so much by putting that cap and that limit to you for the sake of specialization. That's why off season exists. That's why we general preparation GPP training exists. Like these are things in science that we can directly apply, like have a root in science that we directly apply to our lives. And people just choose to disregard, usually because they think it takes away from what they're doing, but really them hyper specializing is hurting them so much more than increasing their global potential. So all I'm saying by that, if you're in the conditioning crowd, you are never lifting weights. We'll get this to another day, but like you're not gaining muscle. You literally, as you get older every year, are losing more muscle. That's not saying you need to be strength training 10 6 times a week, but 2 full body strength days following progressive overload and actually progressive overloading, not just like hitting the little fifi weights that you keep by your desk. They're like 5 pounds that you do for years. That's not progressive overload. But being a runner, start working out a few times a week, a couple times a week. If you're not race prep, you should probably do it more. If you're closer to a race, you could still do it once or twice a week. Don't let the whole of a race coming up stop you from filling up your bucket with stimuluses that are going to help you grow. Okay. Other end too, you're a power lifter. You're just maybe not a power lifter. Maybe you're just someone who wants to gain muscle and size. Oh, I can't get my zone 1, zone 2 cardio in because I'm not going to gain size. There are so many other factors going on that holistically and globally, not, I don't want to say holistically, will globally affect the system and help you out from doing those things that you think are, you're hyper specializing and helping yourself and you're actually hurting yourself. But hope you guys like that video. I think that was a fun one for me. I was really excited to talk about that. And peace out. That's all I got.